Hi everyone, my name is Zhitian LUO, and today I'm going to share with you some of the tips on teaching Chinese adult ESL learners with a focus on English vowel length contrast. And here's a brief overview of the content today. Okay, so the target learners are students whose first language is Chinese Mandarin, who are over 18 years old and who have been living in Australia for quite a long time. So they generally have an English level of IELTS 5+. So according to the common European framework, so their level is B1+. So okay, they can be very advanced, but still they need some instruction in terms of their pronunciation in order to pass a test such as PTE, which has a computer-assessed read aloud component, which requires them to be quite accurate or to have a very light accent in order to get a good result, or for a job interview or a job promotion. So the lessons are usually one-on-one. They can be conducted face-to-face or on Zoom. In terms of the key differences, so there are two parts. The first one is vowel quality, also known as segmental. So while English has 15 vowels, Chinese has only 5, which means Chinese learners generally have to learn how to pronounce many new vowels. And even when a vowel exists in both Chinese and English, the sound's manner of articulation and place of articulation is usually different from that in English. And the second part is vowel duration, which is the focus of the lesson today, also known as super-segmental. So in Mandarin Chinese, there are no minimal pairs of the long versus short vowels. Also, Chinese speakers tend to use pitch, so how high or how fast your vocal folds vibrate, to determine if a syllable is stressed instead of using length as the audio cue. So they may not lengthen the vowel enough in stressed syllables, which take us to the problems they face. So the first of which is receptive. So Mandarin speakers, they do not distinguish the long vowels from the short ones, causing difficulty in listening comprehension. For example, bed and bed. So they might not be able to tell them apart when they just hear a word being said out of the blue. The other thing is productive. And so when Mandarin speakers are speaking English, they tend to use short vowels for long vowels, even when the word is being stressed. So this causes difficulty in making themselves understood by native speakers. For example, I don't care will be pronounced as I don't care, I don't care. As you can see or hear, this is less than ideal, and in real life situations, it can lead to confusion and misunderstanding. And here are the strategies I have gathered through all the readings. So in a nutshell, the implications on the activity design include the incorporation of technology and online resources, use of rubber bands, clapping, and kung fu moves, so some whole body movements to represent sounds. Also, we can use poem reading with some altered text font to highlight a certain part of a word so as to accentuate that part being lengthened. We can also compare English sounds with L1 sounds, so the Mandarin Chinese sounds. We can also use audio editing software, spelling, board games, and listening. We can use IPA symbols in dictionary. We can practice word sentence reading as well as spontaneous speech. And this is quite important because we don't want to be able to produce perfect vowel length in class, only to be quite incapable. We don't want to slip back into our old habits after the lesson. So we want to retain those achievements. Okay. So my lesson consists of 6 activities. The first one is an explicit instruction using a dictionary, where students are shown how to use IPA symbols, or more specifically, the long sound symbol, to tell if a word contains a long vowel. The second one is seeing the sounds. This involves the use of an audio editing software or recording software, Audacity, where students are shown how to analyze the sounds or measure the sounds and compare long and short vowels so they can visualize and actually see the difference. In the third activity, students are shown various strategies that they can employ when trying to make the difference between a short vowel and a long vowel. So they can use a rubber band. When they stretch it slowly, they say a long sound, for example, park. And then when they suddenly release the rubber band and it snaps back, they say a very short sound, for example, put. And they can use clapping, so 3 claps or 3 beats for a long sound and 1 beat for a short vowel. Another way is to use kung fu movements, for example, Tai Chi, to show a long sound when they move slowly towards a card that's placed in front of them, or they can use a very quick succession of movements to represent short vowels. The fourth activity is the key activity I'm going to introduce later, which is poem reading. And this is followed by a board game using cards with a focus on magic E and saying the long vowels associated with this spelling pattern. And to finish, we have a Q&A dialogue session where students will be elicited. So students' spontaneous responses will be elicited. Okay, so for the key activity poem reading, students are asked to read the famous poem by Robert Frost. After initial reading, they're asked to highlight all the stressed long vowels in bright yellow, like these shown below. They then read the poem again using strategies from activity C, which is using rubber band or clapping or the kung fu movements, so that they can really put everything they've learned into practice. And at this point, teachers can change the font on the computer. For example, you can make the long vowels bigger, like this, especially the words at the very end of a sentence, the rhymes, that is. And then to finish, the teacher practice reading out loud with the student. This is the board game. And as for homework, students are sent home with these two further links that they can watch to consolidate their learnings. Thank you.